Hey, welcome back to 22 Panels in the Milestone Book Club. We have the brothers Anderson, no related, not related, no relation, something like that. I swear I haven't been drinking. I'm also not the
You're doing
Secretary of
great.
Defense.
Yeah.
um, Icon versus hardware. And I know you
Yeah.
guys have thoughts, so I'm going to let you guys lead off because I think my thoughts run differently, and I might be in one of the rare positions where I'm the one that can like go, "Hey, I don't think it's that bad."
Yeah. So I mean, I'll go because I know Ted probably has even more thoughts than me. So I'll be brief. I obviously I'm a big Milestone fan, and I've really enjoyed the Milestone Returns material as well as the original. I would say out of all of the Milestone Returns books that I've read, like this series kind of like engaged me the least. There's some cool stuff to it. I can definitely like say the positive and the negative. I think just it was fine. Like I definitely didn't like hate it. I think most of my issues with it are my issues with like event and versus books in general. You know what I mean? It just feels like
Yeah.
there's a bunch of pieces of a recipe with two action figures that they're smashing together, and
Yeah.
so this, and honestly in that way it kind of reminded me a lot of like a bunch of big two books, that because even though Milestone is DC technically, Milestone for me, especially going back to 93, has always been something different than DC. You know what I mean? Connected but
Oh yeah.
different. And this really just felt like a DC book in a lot of ways, a DC event at that. Um
Yeah. It reminded me a lot of like Worlds Collide. Well,
yeah,
I mean, the mouse of DC Worlds Collide a little bit. I
right.
guess. I mean, not just because we try to have DC characters show up, but I don't know.
Yeah, and Ted, I know we agree on this because this was one thing I thought about, like in similarly, and I you mostly see this happening in DC books. One thing that happened is where they were really alternating artists, and
Yeah.
um and I yeah, that just can kind of throw things off for me. I mean, for what it's worth, I think they tried to have a system to it in the sense that you know they would have one artist for like the scenes with Raquel at school, and then Dennis Cowan mostly handled um the stuff outside of Raquel's school. But it's just like that back and forth can just kind of take you out of the story a little bit.
It definitely felt kind of, I don't want to say patched together, but like the shift in art was dramatic enough that I was like, it did sometimes help where it's like, oh, now we're back to the Raquel stuff, now we're back to the hardware stuff. Like it was honestly kind of helpful in some ways, but it also just it felt very like I don't know. There were some elements of sort of high concept goofiness and then also like personal drama stuff that I didn't the whole way through didn't really feel like it meshed very well, and then it ugh.
Yeah. Well, and so, and I said I would say negative and positive, and some of the positive stuff is like I like a I like a goofy time travel story, and I honestly wait. I mean, we've seen time travel in like 3-second increments in
Right.
Milestone.
And I do
I
like that
don't
they bring
think.
that up. I do like that they bring that up
Yeah,
where
it's
he's
briefly
a
mentioned, yeah,
yeah.
with Blood Syndicate. But that's the thing is like, so this was like the that I unless I'm forgetting something, this is like one of the first times where we had a Milestone story that where like time travel was a big part of it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I kind of liked the idea of because Curtis is just a flawed. Every iteration of Curtis is a flawed hero, and so he is trying to. I mean, I guess we can kind of. Well, I want to hear your thoughts before I really jump into it. But I will say, like, I enjoyed some of the time travel stuff. I enjoyed, seeing hardware try to do right, but just the whole time you're just like, why would you do it this way? You know what I mean? Like, it was a little fun for me. So
Yeah,
anyway,
I can see the fun of it, but at the same time it's trying to do a thing that's like it's trying to do something pretty ultra serious in the idea of like, yeah, this is what if you could not only like prevent the Big Bang, but then also
stop slavery.
stop the entirety of slavery. And like there's there's something interesting to that. Like that could be its entire own story,
Yeah, it
that
should have
that
been
whole
its
thing.
own thing. I agree.
Yeah, and it's also because like the way that it happens in here, it's just like I get that this is a comic book and there's only so much space you have and so forth, but like he just walks into a room where a bunch of white guys are like, "So here's how we're gonna do
Yeah,
slavery for the next 500 years." It's like probably
right.
not how it happened. I mean, I get that we're in a comic,
It's
like
like a
this is like
shorthand. Yeah, yeah,
it's, I
yeah,
mean, it's a shorthand thing, but it's just
yeah.
like, okay, guys, we're calling it slavery. Let me know if you have any branding tips. I don't know. It was a little wacky, like
Yeah.
unnecessary. Like I wouldn't say unnecessarily wacky. It was odd. It was anyway.
But
Uh,
I will say briefly that I did appreciate it only because there's so many things in comics and movies where like you have a character like Steve Rogers who maybe like lives through a bunch of different eras or what, not even Steve Rogers, but just characters who, when you think about it hard enough, you're like, oh wow, they could have stopped some real
yeah,
atrocities that happened to black people, like, you know what I
yeah.
mean, and they didn't.
And
um
I mean, that's kind of, it's not the point of Icon, but it is like an interesting facet of Icon's character that for one reason or another, he chose not to or wasn't able to alter the course of things enough to make a difference. Like in the original Milestone, it was more like he was keeping his head down. In this version, wasn't he like specifically weakened by the other, like the weird shape-shifting parasite guy? Like there was a reason he couldn't sort of,
yeah, there was something like that, but he definitely participated in the Underground Railroad, and I think,
right.
if I'm not mistaken, I think he did in Old Milestone as well, but they didn't go into it as much. I think it was like
Yeah.
2 panels in the
Yeah,
Old
it's, I
Milestone.
mean, enough to kind of wave your hands like, yeah, it's, there's a reason he didn't do all this. Although then the inverse of that is then we do have Vandal Savage, which
Hmm.
when we start bringing in DC stuff like that was wacky, but that's not wacky. That was a left turn for me, but also like, you know what? That reminds me of DC 1 million, which is my favorite crossover. So like it's that's not a bad thing necessarily. And this is even eye patch Vandal Savage. And like he got the eye patch in DC 1 million, so that's it anyway. But yeah, that was odd and wacky, and like I get that you needed to have a few villains along the way too, but also like the whole point of all this is that, I mean, okay, I can't remember if we've gotten to this point in Shadow Cabinet yet. I don't think we haven't done Shadow Cabinet yet.
No, Shadow Cabinet
The
comes right
old one
after
or the new
this.
one?
Yeah, old one,
Oh, old
because
Yeah.
one.
but we did get the Shadow War stuff, and some of that was about the fact that like Dharma can see the future and literally therefore considers himself responsible for the entirety of the future because he can't change it but could or something.
Right.
Um, but it's also a thing of, there's that whole dilemma that is loosely the same as in this book, which is like, okay, if you could go anywhere in time and alter history, well, why don't you? And a lot of times, the quick and easy way to just defuse that in comics is just like, well, we'll just screw it up worse, so I guess we should just,
Paradox.
yeah,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
paradox is like the even easier way to do it, or like,
Right, right.
oh no, it broke while we were traveling back from the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
dinosaur times.
yeah.
But like if you're trying to make a character have an actual argument against it, the real quick shorthand is like, well, we can't fix everything, so we might as well just destroy this machine forever. And he smashes it.
Mhm.
And like I get that you kind of got to do that, but also like one of the bits I like about Milestone is when you get to have actual arguments about, like Icon's whole deal in original Milestone, less so in the current stuff, but still there. But like original Icon's whole deal is that he is an interesting sort of argument for like what should Superman or any other sort of super powerful alien from another world, from a better world, what should this outsider do and what should they be responsible for in this world, like should he be changing us if he comes from another world, if he's not sort of part of our species in the most technical sense, and that level of responsibility. And there's an actual discussion to be had about that. And it is part of Icon's whole character arc, is like whether or not he feels like he can do that without being, an enforcer of the universe or whatever. So like, um, then to have this sort of so quickly brushed off in this series of like, well, time travel is never going to fix the world perfectly, so I guess we just should destroy it right now, is like, I get that it's comics, but like, let's do something, right? Let's at least like figure out a slightly better explanation or like a slightly better reason that gets destroyed, other than like, well, we can't fix even the smallest thing without potentially destroying everything. It's like, well, you could try, guys, like it's that hardware kind
Yeah,
of mess things up, but anyway.
yeah. And I mean, I guess I no, and I agree. Like I think that because, and also every time Curtis breaks something, which I feel like there's what, like maybe three things he goes back and does that really kind of break things. Every time he does it, he's like, I'm gonna go fix it, and then he fixes it off camera.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, now this is a situation. Um, but I definitely want to hear Tad's thoughts too. But I had one other thing. Well, you go, Tad. What are you thinking?
I mean, one of my big thoughts was, particularly with Brainiac coming in, it took like our least favorite part that we've done of Milestone so far, which was the worlds collide, and condensed it into something
Mm,
manageable. It took the mildly interesting part and like shed all the rest. So rather than having this massive 12 issue crossover event where most of it was being written by DC guys that hadn't bothered to read any Milestone.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and I liked, and part of this is I've already been reading the Shadow Cabinet books, and it filled the gap. I liked that um, Raquel was sent to this school where she felt out of place, but she was learning things and kind of being set up to be a more um being set up to be in the halls of power in the world, not just as a superhero. Um, but at the same time, I felt like on a whole, it kind of had the Spider-Man 3 problem of trying to do too many things in one series.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like it should have either been the time travel or the Brainiac or the Raquel drifting
From Icon. Yeah.
from Icon and finding her own way, etc. I think trying to do all three of those things together was just too much. I think maybe you could have done two of them, particularly if Raquel was the one. I think best actually would have been to do like 10 issues where five was Icon versus Hardware and the time travel thing. And then rather than having Brainiac come before, I mean, because it like makes no sense whatsoever for Icon to even consider telling Curtis that he can't be Hardware anymore because of the mistakes that he's made right after they've faced a universe level threat that clearly isn't completely over, right?
Mhm.
It makes a lot of sense to have that showdown, have it not work, have it resolve the same where it was, where his Icon sits back, he's like, oh yeah, no, I don't think I can actually win this. So sucks, but yeah, I'll let you keep being Hardware. But then they have to work together to, and then it's like, oh, okay, people make mistakes, but all the while, because Raquel's off at school and they both keep treating her like she's like precious and not a hero with them, it leads to, but she gets more time to breathe in that rather than going from, it feels like she's abruptly at the school to begin with, you know? Um, so I feel like that character development got short shift,
Yeah.
and two stories that could have been five issues on their own, particularly if they were going alongside a 10 issue Raquel um, growth, maturity. Words are not coming to me as well as I'd like to.
Yeah, like an arc. Yeah.
Arc, you
Yeah.
know.
Well,
So
yeah.
yeah, that's kind of where I mean, I liked it. It made me understand and like um Shadow Cabinet more. I'm looking forward to rereading it. Um,
Yeah, this I don't know. This felt like I mean, this is definitely a bridge between
It's a
everything.
setup, yeah.
Yeah, it's the setup between everything that happened in all the various seasons one, the Hardware season one, the Icon and Rocket season one. Incidentally, I had to go back and check. I had completely forgotten that at the end of Icon season one, Icon and Rocket season one, he says like, "Hey, I'm sending you to school in Switzerland." I
Mhm.
started reading this. I'm like, "Wait, when the hell did you go to Switzerland?" I did not remember that. And it's actually no, that was there. Like I
It's
just
in
totally
there, yeah.
forgot it happened. Yeah, it
but I feel like it would have been better if there was still more.
Yeah, like maybe
yeah.
getting us there, yeah.
It like it
You
was literally a
know,
page and some dialogue, and also like I still
she's got to say goodbye to family. She's got to.
Right.
yeah, and then also there's I don't know, there's a little stuff in that how that school was done because like I get the like that could have been its own storyline. I would love to see
Right.
like a 4-issue miniseries
Mhm.
about Rocket at school, like and then her teacher her headmaster turns out to be Vandal Savage. That would have been fun on its own. Again, this was like three different stories kind of crammed into one. It's
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think well that is interesting because like I love Rocket. Rocket's one of my like favorite characters in the Milestone universe. And this is feels kind of crazy coming out of my mouth because I have a lot of respect for Reginald Hudlin. Like he's made some really classic pieces of entertainment and black entertainment, and so I have respect for Reginald Hudlin. I feel like him writing Raquel, like her voice didn't ring true. It like I feel like he hasn't completely nailed like writing Raquel. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
I,
I nothing against his writing, but it's like I feel like her, and also when he did Blood Syndicate too, it kind of felt like uh I don't know.
I do have to wonder
Yeah,
how
it didn't
much
feel like he had the female characters right.
You think
yeah.
any of
Um,
them?
I
Yeah,
see I'm wondering
Maybe
how much was
Brickhouse,
I was wondering how much was Reginald Hudlin and how much was
Leon
this
just
Chills,
yeah
editorial.
yeah I don't well no Leon Chills
editorial.
Oh,
I was gonna say Leon Chills I don't actually know much what
oh,
else
did they co-write? I didn't know. I
it's
thought.
Yeah.
so it says written by and I have to wonder like was this I have no idea. I don't know, but like, was this Reginald Hudlin getting some plot beats together and then Leon being the one to write it, or were they?
Oh,
I don't
okay,
know. I
okay.
have no. I mean, that's the
Right.
thing that makes me wonder is like, was this someone who came up with the story and handed it to somebody else and they had to execute
Right,
as best as possible? Because hey, I mean, hey, I've been in that position and sometimes it sucks. Like, I don't want to
right.
have to write the
You know,
story. I think it's not great.
yeah, I looked at it very quickly because I think I saw Reginald Hudlin's name on the cover and I was like, oh, he's the writer for this, but I didn't
Oh
realize it
yeah.
was a co-writing thing or yeah, whatever, however
It
it came.
it just says written by and doesn't give much more
Okay,
detail.
okay,
So at least not the version I had. So like I don't.
yeah,
It could very well be that they were swapping scenes. I don't know if they were doing different characters. I who knows. So
yeah.
um
Well, Rocket, like it's interesting because there's some characters where they really change them, or or they're like heavily updated as far as like the personality or whatever. But
yeah
Rocket is new Rocket and old Rocket are like pretty similar. You know what I mean? There's
yeah
not really a big jump. And so, you
Well, I
know,
mean, other than the baby.
yeah,
that's
well
I have to wonder
definitely,
where
yeah.
that's going to come in. And it's also I
Right, if
mean
it's gonna come in. Yeah,
I mean the
because I will say that was a very 90s
very
baby
90s trope
type and baby.
handled extremely
Well,
well.
it was
But
a
like
concern. It was a
yeah
concern that a lot of people had. And like, so I think it was valid for it to be there, and I think it was pretty revolutionary to be like, oh, like what
oh
if
yeah
a superhero, and it made sense for Raquel's character and her life and everything that was going on with her.
yeah. Well, and also the
So
original series I feel like
I'm
had more
gonna
of an
I, I'm gonna jump in and say it's also makes sense for it not to be a thing now.
Yeah,
I'm not
now,
saying
yeah,
teen
yeah,
pregnancy is gone,
it
but
actually is
it
much
is
less than it has been. Yeah.
dramatically down
yes,
since the 90s, which
yeah,
is not something that enough older people give credit to,
right,
you know. Um, so I kind of like that they paid attention and they're like,
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's I also feel like the original series, just partly by virtue of having more space and being more decompressed, also is able to give more emphasis to Raquel's interest in writing and like her writing career and everything.
Yeah,
But
yeah, true.
that's just almost a question of space at this point. Like she's only
Yeah.
really had those 6 issues, so you know. Um, the
Yeah.
Love Core show up again, and I'm still not entirely sure what their deal is. Like I, they're there, and I get that you want to have a sort of a more compelling and interesting love interest for Icon, which I do like, but also like where exactly they fit into the Milestone universe is unclear. So
Yeah. Well,
Though
yeah.
he
Oh,
seems to be implying at the end that
yeah,
they're
so
part of.
the Shadow Cabinet, like it seems like they're implying that, but that doesn't really make sense because we already know the Shadow Cabinet is a different group. Because then we see Dharma at the end of anyway.
All
It
right.
it was weird. I
But
don't.
maybe they're not part of the Shadow Cabinet. Maybe they're part. I mean, wasn't there another? In the original, there was the Shadow Cabinet, and there was another group.
yeah, there was the shoot, not Star something. Shadow. You
Uh,
mean that they were fighting against in the
Oh,
war?
yeah.
the Star Chamber. The Star Chamber
Star Chamber,
was
yeah.
that was just like the system meetings. That was just like
Okay,
the head,
okay.
the high level system guys. I think. I'm pretty
But
sure
I don't
who are
know,
they?
but
Who were they
like
fighting in the Shadow War? Was that
that. Oh, good point. Maybe that.
at, at least at
Uh,
least at this point, and I've read my Shadow Cabinet monthly, so like I forget if the Love Squad or what level the Love Squad is in it, but at least at this point we have Icon making it clear that there's something that he thinks that they're not telling Raquel,
Mhm.
um but we don't know what that is.
Right.
yeah, and I don't know. I wish they'd give us a little more because as far as I
Well,
can
it might be
see,
in the
like,
next part.
well, yeah, but I mean, just for right now, like,
Oh yeah.
because all I've seen is that, like, okay, the Shadow Cabinet exists, and then also there's these other people who are apparently totally distinct from the Shadow Cabinet, I guess, unless they're the same
Right.
people. I don't know. Like, it's not clear enough to be. I don't know. It,
Yeah.
it
Well, it. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say briefly that it some of like I think what we're talking about reminds me of the concern I brought up in our last episode, which is I just don't 100% know if I trust DC to like be fully invested in um really giving us consistent milestone because there are big breaks. Like they'll do these seasons,
Right.
and then we'll kind of go a while without milestones. So if we had kind of like a monthly books, then there would be more of an opportunity to kind of like build out some of these things. Like who is what the Love Core or whatever, I forget the name, but like in relation to Shadow Cabinet and all this stuff. But it's like we kind of get because how long has it been since Icon? It was kind of a big break between Icon season one, I think, and
Few
this
years.
book. Yeah, so what I mean, like so, like a lot of time is passing, and I think DC. I know you're listening to our boy Tad's podcast, so
You know,
let's get
Marie
some more
Javens
milestone
did
going.
follow me on
Ooh.
Instagram, so it's
Okay,
possible.
hey
Um.
Marie.
Hey
There,
Marie,
well, and additionally, I mean, this
I
is
got
something
a
we.
great writer and a great artist here that would be
Ooh,
happy to work for you.
I'm right here. Hire me. The
Marcus,
interesting.
it turns out, has a small gap in his schedule.
um, there is a
Ted's been looking for work. I mean,
I've
he's
got.
got
I
his
mean,
library
I could do
gig.
some book. Well, here's the thing, though. I don't. I mean, are you really going to hire me to do Stone books? Not to put too
Well,
fine a point on it, but like,
that she
am I a
oversees
DEI hire
all of
for my?
DC though.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we
Um,
need some.
there was something I was going to say about. Well, actually, no. I was one other thing I was going to mention is that there have been some of those. I am completely blanking on the titles, but Tad isn't going to talk. But you probably both of you guys know these, but like the like young adult or like middle grade
Oh yeah,
readers that they put
There's
together
been
that
at
are
least one.
yeah. There's the Static Up All Night one, which
yeah.
Right.
I don't have in my library, but I've read, and there was that.
It's so good.
There's got to be another one, and there's stuff that's. I
That's
mean,
one of my favorite statics.
that one's great, and it also like not only does it bring in Static, it then also includes characters like Iota and Raquel
Mhm.
shows up, and so does
Right.
Icon, and then they have a whole new character who has a fun superpower that like does nothing sort of plot wise, but is just a great bit of humorous like superpower nonsense. I don't know.
Mhm.
I like that one a lot, but it's not, as far as I can tell, part of the quote unquote
No.
main
All of the young
milestone.
adult
No.
ones
Their
are
own
not
thing.
in the mage. Some of them are tied together, Like Cami Garcia's been doing a whole bunch of Teen Titans books that are tied together in a
Yes,
universe.
the Robin or the green the Beast Boy and Beast and Raven
Right,
and yeah. Those are
right,
all
Yeah.
great, but they're their own little thing. Everything else
right.
is more or less its own separate
For the
deal
most part.
for the
Yeah.
most part. Yeah, there's been like the Starfire ones too. It's yeah, I love all these characters, and it's just God, I really wish we could go back to the old days where we would have like six titles of these guys on the shelf every month. You know, six like
I mean,
that's what it should be.
on one side, I totally agree with you, and I would love to see that. Particularly if like we could manage to get enough people interested to sell them to keep it going, etc. Um, on the other side, like I was just thinking about this today with Mad Cave, who have been killing
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
Um, but they went from I read everything they do to I pick and choose just because they're putting out so many more
That's
books now. And I
yeah.
wonder if sometimes you can wind up growing too fast because unless you build up an audience, like I mean, I'm going to read all Milestone books right now, and I think I'd keep trying to read all Milestone books, but like I read
It's,
like
I mean, it does make it more focused. I mean, the
I have
almost the analogous thing is like,
so
you
many
know,
hours.
sorry.
I said I have to make decisions on what to read at some point because there's only so many hours in the
Yeah,
day.
exactly. Yeah. No, I mean, the thing that's almost analogous to me is like Astro City, because
Yeah.
it's not as though that this is just being done by one person, although it is a pretty small team and a pretty focused team, but it's like, jumping in and out and seeing kind of perspectives on different things. It's not as focused as Astro City was, where like each issue or each story arc was very clearly, this is the theme. But
Right.
it's still that kind of thing where you're kind of dipping in and out of a superhero universe. And I don't know if that's the best comparison. I mean, frankly, I would like Milestone to just be another universe. I want it to be the big three, and I mean that's no longer obviously
I would
like
like it
feasible, but
if they had at least three books going at any given time.
oh, for sure.
Um,
Look, yeah,
or at the very least always had a book going.
yeah. Look, I'm gonna be real, man. I mean, I probably said this last time, so I'll be brief in case I'm repeating myself. But
I like it
there's
when you
a
get real, Marcus.
yeah, I mean, I'm always real, but like I'm gonna really be real. But no, but what I'm saying is this. There's just in my experience, man, there's so much, you know, February rolls around, everybody from Marvel to Hulu to DC has their like celebrating Black voices. We're gonna put out this book. March rolls around, maybe you get the like, the women's voices books. June comes around, you get the Pride. Everybody loves Pride so much, and then the month ends, and it's like, the investment in telling those stories goes away. And I've said it, it's look, it's really just comes down to equity and stuff. And if we acknowledge that there is a dearth in representation and that there's really quality stories to be told, and that oftentimes stories can be even more richer when they offer experiences that aren't represented enough. If we as a society accept that this is the case, as is said oftentimes during these months I'm talking about, then I really feel like I get sales and all that, and the sales thresholds that these comic companies, you know, have and they abide by. But like, I do think there comes a certain point when you gotta be like, look, Milestone is important, and it's there's a legacy there, and there are Milestone fans potentially who don't even know they're Milestone fans, who
Yeah.
could be
Absolutely.
if you invested in it. And I feel like I see a lack of investment in it. And I probably talked last time about, look, I
No,
love
that
Batman,
that
but
I and this is where I go back to. I mean, if I was running either Marvel or DC, I would probably roll back the pure monthly titles dramatically. Um, and do a lot more mini and maxi series going all over the place. If I was at DC, I'd have monthly. You can't get rid of action and detective. And you're gonna have Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman.
But wait, real quick, not just Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, like endless spin-offs
No. But my point,
of varying quality.
I was
Yeah.
running it.
Yeah.
Those
Oh,
five,
if you were, yeah.
those five would continue to be
Right. I
monthly,
got you.
but everything else would be pitch me a story arc.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how you keep it fresh, right? Like, because
Right.
even if we're not just talking about Milestone, like sometimes it drives me crazy with the big two. They've got some. They will put out some books that are really challenging the status quo of what superhero comics have been, but then they'll put out some stuff that's really spinning their wheels, you know, and a lot of stuff that's really spinning the wheels, you know. So I'm just saying, like, let's tell different kinds of stories, shake it up. Because how many times has the comic book industry been in a state of emergency, you know? And
When is it
Pretty
not?
much continually since 1901.
right, exactly, yeah. So I mean, just try something, try some new stuff.
Yeah, man. I mean,
I'm used to it.
and then I mean, to be fair, that is kind of what they're doing with those things like the YA miniseries or micro
Sure.
the books
Yeah.
type thing. I mean, you know it, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
There's so many Batman spin-offs.
oh god,
I like Batman. I'm a Batman fan.
If you want my real opinion,
Yeah.
We're in the death throes of monthly comics as we know them. I think we're going to wind up going more towards that a model that doesn't have quite so many monthly titles coming out sooner rather than later, as soon as the people who actually have money and I need to have all of my, as the old white men become dead white men, for lack of a better way of putting it, there just won't be a marketplace for it.
There's an inexhaustible supply of guys because it's such an insular crony.
I mean,
system.
it is.
They'll put their kids will get in there.
yeah. I'm right here, guys.
Yeah, but how many of the monthlies do you buy? I mean, how many of the monthly serials do you buy? I mean, if I buy probably more comics than both of you combined.
I'm sure, yeah.
But like right now, the only ones that aren't part of limited series are Daredevil and Wonder Woman.
Yeah, this is a good
Saga. But even that is kind of a limited series now because they've said that it will be 108.
Really, 108 specifically? Interesting. This is a fascinating discussion as always, and like I do love discussing exactly when the comic market will be dying out in various ways. I do want to,
but I don't think it'll die at all.
No, I'm
right. You're saying
I think it'll be a lot more graphic novels.
I'm being hyperbolic.
I'd love that. Yeah.
I'm being hyperbolic in order to get us back to Icon versus Hardware.
Somebody's got to get the train on the tracks. Yeah. Okay.
I'm just trying to get us, trying to reverse the train. That's how trains work.
What?
It's no, the
train is off the rails and going full speed ahead, Ted.
This was also interesting because the thing that this was just a random thought that I had when I was reading through it. I've also been rereading my pal Xander Cannon's comic Kaiju Max. Which,
I love that book.
Oh, it's great. I've been doing a full reread of that thing just kind of for the heck of it. And season 5 of that series, 5 included an extensive set of stuff on trials. So reading that and then immediately reading issue 2 of this reminded me of like there are more and less accurate ways to depict trials in media. Because Xander has talked about like, very like what's the actual phases of a trial? There's discovery, and there's motions, and there's this, and there's that, and then like in this sequence, there's his lawyer just presents this video footage and is like, as you can see, this completely exonerates Curtis Metcalf. It's like, oh, okay, cool. That's not actually how it happens, but
yeah, that only works if you manage to do it with the DA before you get into the courtroom.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not quite
that speaks to the fact that there's a lot of story that they were trying to pack into 5 issues.
Sure.
And
I get the
No, that's not even an excuse. I'm saying I'm actually, yeah, agreeing with your point because I feel like
Yeah.
it there's just so much of like boom, boom, and then we gotta move. No time.
Yeah, it's I get that they got to snap it up, but it's also like I don't know. Yeah, this went in so many weird directions. And also, I mean, tying it into the DC Comics multiverse kind of not works against it, but does like every time I saw that thing of like, meanwhile, back in the Prime timeline, I'm like, oh, okay, so you just mean that none of this is going to matter, right? Because they would do that thing where they would cut back to Raquel at the boarding school and everything's fine, and it's like, oh yeah, so this is all just a distraction,
Well,
right?
wait. Can I ask you a question? Because that
Sure.
actually brings up a point that I'm not sure that I fully had a take on. Is so because there's different ideas of time travel, right? And like alternate timelines and everything. And it seems like there's are they subscribing to the kind of version of time and quantum physics where it's like if you if hardware goes back and like changes the course of actions with his father, right? And this butterfly effect happens, blah blah blah. That's not. They're going with the version where that's technically not affecting. If he goes back to his time, is his time
Almost felt
changed?
like he was creating
I'm
a
a little
split time.
confused.
Because then
It's
he
split,
shows up
right?
in the well, then he looks up
Right.
at he shows up in the future of that timeline with that
Right.
different version of himself. The two hardwares fight the icon
Right.
at
Right.
that time. Yeah, no,
But did he? But
it's
so potentially he had a an untouched timeline to go back to, right? Or no?
Well, and
That's
then
what
there
I'm a
was
little
the
confused
one
by.
where Raquel took the DeLorean back to her great grandfather and gave him the book on
Right.
sports stuff so that
And then
he
a
could
white kid
bet on
created
the.
rock and roll,
That's right.
and Chuck
God.
Berry, Chuck Berry learned rock and roll from a white kid from the future.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, no, yeah, it becomes a mess because, and by the end of it, it just becomes an excuse to have all the various characters in the Milestone universe beat up Nazis and Confederate soldiers and other races throughout
Which
history.
that
Which
Which
was
is
like,
kind of
great.
cool.
yeah, no,
Let's
I
do
get
it.
the appeal of
I
that.
like that.
I'm not really like, I'm not down on that, but it is just like I get that they're sort of like the actual mechanics of time travel doesn't have to make sense because we
I
know what
mean,
we're getting into here.
sometimes when you just want to have Blood
Oh,
Syndicate
excuse me.
beat up some Confederates,
Hmm.
um,
Right.
you got to play
But you really
fast and
only got
loose
like,
with the time stream.
yeah, but you only really got 2 pages of it. I feel
Oh
like
yeah,
I know they
if
really
you
should have
want
given us
to, yeah,
more.
if you want to have
I'm
violence
surprised.
against Nazis and Confederates, you need to have like,
They should have actually explained the time travel even less so that
mhm,
we can have more violence against
yeah.
Nazis and
I mean,
Confederates.
as a person who's had fun drawing violence against
I'm on board
Confederates,
with this. I'm
you
totally on
know,
board with
yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of fun showing Confederate
Let's
soldiers
hand
getting their
wave the
just dues.
entire time travel part.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is just like by the end, it's just like, yeah, comic books. You know how this is. I do have to say, I was also a little bit wondering. I wonder if there was some behind the scenes nonsense because this is a 5 issue miniseries when all the other Milestone books, the recent Milestone books, have been 6 issue miniseries. So I'm wondering, like, was there a reason they had to like? It doesn't feel
I
like they
don't
cut
know.
it
I
short.
actually didn't want it to be longer.
I
I
mean,
know what you mean.
I think it could have breathed more in certain places, but
Well,
like it didn't.
actually, let me ask
That's
a
true.
question because there was one decision that I don't know if I liked. Um, when hardware went back and got rid of slavery, he wound up just installing himself as king, god, whatever. That's not how you have to play that.
Not at all.
Um, yeah,
Well, yeah, and but I think I agree, and I feel like if the story had just been about, because that really could just be an entire book. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's kind
Oh
of
yeah.
it is weird for it to be a part of an issue. So
Right.
I agree because I feel like you could have really taken time to get into some of the nuances of like, well, what changed? How did it change? How did we even get to? Because all right. I will say this, right? Like when you think about our cursed timeline and the fact that like myself and um just other black people, in this country and the West in general, because my family was enslaved through
Right.
slave trade in Jamaica, but it's still the same beast, right? But like all of us, like it impacts everything up until this day. I mean, like white America would not be what it was without the a 400-year head start of free labor, and and so you think about all these things, and this really this system, right? So to me, it's halfway to all lives matter to be like, hey, if you stop slavery, then black people are just gonna enslave white people, and it's like, nah, man. Like
Yeah,
that's
that
to be honest, like that's the thing in our real life that frustrates me the most about the irrationality of white supremacy is it operates under this notion like, well, we got to keep doing this nonsense, otherwise black people are going to get revenge on us and do the same stuff we did. And it's
yeah.
like, no, we want to live our damn lives. You know what I mean? And
I
like,
mean that you nailed exactly what bothered me is that
yeah,
like knowing how it all turned out in the alternate timeline, he was portrayed as incapable of having empathy among white people that never actually enslaved black people because he didn't let them.
yeah, it's just like I feel like if you're gonna tackle something again, as somebody whose latest graphic novel like dealt very heavily with slavery, like I feel like if you're gonna tackle that, like, yeah, you don't need to do it so like as a kind of like footnote. You know what I mean? Like it's
Right.
there's enough to really grapple with there. I did appreciate initially when I was reading it that they did tackle it and say like, well, if you do have the ability to time travel, maybe like what level of responsibility do you have to try to stop historical atrocities? But
But then saying that like, oh, no matter what I do, there's always going to be historical atrocities is kind of a cop out because it's
and
like maybe that's not true in reality. Maybe there could be less historical atrocities.
exactly,
If
and
you
there
have a
were
time machine, give it a try, dude.
right, and there are a multitude of factors that led to European Americans like colonizing the world, enslaving people, murdering indigenous people, all the things. And it's not just because
Or
black
white
people
dudes
didn't
in.
get to it first. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like difference in cultures and ways of life and
Yeah.
everything. Even that's why to the extent where when totally disingenuous racists try to say, well, black people participated in the slave trade. It's like shut up, because in a majority of African civilizations, slavery wasn't the same thing as what the transatlantic
I
slave
mean,
trade was. The European slave,
it
it
not
wasn't this
in general in
unending.
European civilizations it wasn't the same thing.
Right, right. So my point is, it's like I guess that's what I'm saying. It's like culturally, if
Right.
the European transatlantic slave trade hadn't happened, culturally, black people weren't gonna turn around and do the same thing. That's
No.
ridiculous. That's like literally like a Ben Shapiro speculative fiction story. It's like, well, if we didn't do this, then black people would have enslaved us. Like, that's what it sounds like to me.
Sorry, your Ben Shapiro impression was very good.
Thank you. Thank you. I've been working on it. I gotta
I,
I got a,
I
I got a
honestly
new
didn't
network.
even know what he sounded like until then, so I'm
Oh, you're
gonna
so
assume that
lucky.
it was good,
You're so
but
lucky.
I've
I
gone
don't.
out of my way to never hear his voice.
Right, right. I do not watch him, but I'll hear clips on like just various pieces of progressive
Right.
media. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, that was probably the decision that I was most disappointed in. I mean, I think that they did a decent job in having the icon who is still the alien say, well, that's not
Hmm.
true. We managed to have a utopia where I live.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I mean, I
it's
think we call a lot of things human nature that there isn't actually good evidence that it's human nature.
Yeah.
yeah. I was also going to say this. I mean, this is also their attempt to do Wakanda in Milestone, where it's like
Yes.
this is here's our Black Utopia, but in this case, it's the like
Well,
unfortunate, not unfortunate. It's like it's the unfortunate not bystander. What's the term I'm looking for here? The
Byproduct?
by
Or,
not even byproduct. It's like it unfortunately gets destroyed as part of the time travel shenanigans. Like, yeah, it's sort of
oh, okay.
perfect, except it also apparently also caused
Well,
atrocities, and like it's
right, and like Wakanda doesn't have, at least in any of the versions I've read, Wakanda
Mhm.
doesn't have the history. They've isolated themselves from
Right.
white men. They haven't like enslaved white men,
right.
They have no
or even
desire, but yeah,
treated
to do
them
that.
as second class citizens. They just like have
No,
gone,
they want
oh,
to be left alone.
you
That's
can't handle
literally what
us,
black
so
people want. We want to
leave
be
us
left
alone.
alone and live our lives and
We'll
thrive.
do
You
our
know
own
what I mean?
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not quite the same thing. No, I know. It's just it's yeah. I this whole series we had like 2 pages of the Black Utopia, and it's like you've been here for 400 years, man.
No,
It's
again, and this is where I go back a lot to. They just tried to do way too much in 5 issues.
it's a lot to
They tried to do
cram into
way,
one.
way, way too much in 5 issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I don't
but
know. I
yeah,
mean, I'm looking forward to the offshoots of this because that's the other thing is that as a result of this, we've now got some bigger shifts in the status quo. Hardware
yeah,
is a little more visible again, and he's doing his own thing, and he has come into more direct conflict with Icon.
Mhm.
And Rocket has split from Icon. She's joined the Love Corps. Like
Yeah.
that's a big deal. That's a major shift. When we get into, I haven't actually read even the new Shadow Cabinet stuff, which I know is currently coming out. Like, I don't
that's
know if
what we
that.
get to do for next month because it's all
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh, that's
is
right.
that
The
what's
whole
next month?
Issues.
dang.
So
Okay.
we'll do that for next month,
Wait, did
and
you
then
say
we'll
it's only
move
4 issues?
It
Yeah.
is 4 issues, yeah. I
Oh,
have them.
okay.
I have not read them yet.
Yeah, me neither. So that's the thing of it. Like, is if that comes up in there, I'm going to be interested in how that's handled. Like, again, is the Love Corps part of the Shadow Cabinet or in any way connected, or are they just two
Right.
completely different
Right.
shadowy conspiracies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's next month is we'll do Shadow Cabinet, and then we'll move into Omnibus Volume 3. I've ordered my copy. I haven't gotten it yet, so I can't open it up and say what the first part of that is.
Mm.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
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 Oh, there's something else that occurred to me to read at some point. Oh, sorry, were you gonna say Ted?
No. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, yeah, we'll do Shadow Cabinet this month. But have we brought up well, I don't even know if you can find it digitally, but there was a Milestone. We've talked about it, but it was like a 2 issue miniseries that came out like in the span of time when we just weren't getting any Milestone books. It was the one where they kind of like they wrapped up some of the stories from back in the day, like Virgil's. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Milestone.
Forever, maybe?
I
Was
have
it
it.
Milestone?
Yeah. I think it's that. I
Yes,
have it
I did
downstairs.
read it. Like it's been forever, but I did
Yeah.
read it.
I was gonna say that might be fun to talk about in the future at some point.
I
Yeah,
mean, if it wraps up the stuff, you
we
think
should.
that
Yeah,
we get
that's
to
true. We
it
should
when we.
Yeah.
once we finish the entirety of the original.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
whenever we finally get there. Good Lord.
There was a Static Shock special in 2011.
Yeah, we also got to
Mm.
watch some of the episodes of Static Shock to check
Yeah, I
that out.
love that.
Though remember that became harder to watch recently. We could still buy it though.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, there's. I mean, there's other ways we can find it, of course, but yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah.
well, yeah.
It's this. Yeah, this does. I mean, overall, I have not been enjoying the Milestone return stuff as much as I've been enjoying your old school original Milestone. That being said, I obviously want to see it continue, and I want to see what more they do with it. So, like, I'm gonna be interested in seeing the Shadow Cabinet miniseries and what exactly we get out of there. And
Yeah.
I don't know, it just could be.
It would be really nice. It would be really nice to your point, I think, if I feel like they'd have time to build if they had at least 3 monthly series. Like maybe just the ones that were the main series back in the day, just Static, Blood
Even just
Syndicate,
do even just
Hardware.
do
I,
a
c-
monthly series. Do like an ensemble
I
cast
could
monthly
see
series.
I could see it working great if you did a static monthly series and at least 2 miniseries going at any given time.
Yeah, like because all right, so like when you think about like because this whole seasons model really it's really what like indie comics does, and you kind of understand why it happens that way in indie comics because it's like a lot of work, and it's like the team literally needs to recharge and kind of build up their material for the next arc. But this is DC, and I feel like they have infrastructure to keep these books going.
They have
And that should be
infrastructure. They have money.
yeah, like
They,
because
it's
what
actually
happens?
debatable. I mean, the way they do accounting for comics is weird.
Mm,
I don't know if I buy that they have as much trouble turning profits as they say they do.
yeah,
Um,
I just
Particularly when it's Marvel and DC.
yeah, I think I just what was I gonna say? Oh, just about we kind of talked about how like a good amount of this was like setting things up, right? Like setting up Shadow Cabinet, setting up what was gonna go on with Raquel, and even potentially setting her up to play a role in the Shadow Cabinet. So it's like if you don't have monthly milestone stuff going, right? So what happens is you have an event like Icon and Hardware, and you don't even get to just focus on Icon and Hardware and maybe this one situation. You got to like do that. You got to juggle like, all right, we want to set up these things. We want to set this up over here, and so you end up having a lot of setup jammed into your book when that stuff could just be happening organically in whatever the regular books are if you have some. So I don't know. DC, I know you're listening to my boy Tad's podcast, so like let's
It
let's
would be
get some
Come on,
regular
fantastic.
make it
milestone
happen.
books.
Make it happen.
Yeah.
Turn those wheels. I'd be down
Yeah.
for doing so. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I want to see more, but also like I just want to see like more overall. I want to see everything. I want to see wider. I want to see deeper. I want
Yeah.
to see different stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
man, I want to make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
let's do this. Come on, guys. Hire us.
so
But
I
yeah,
think we've officially run out of steam.
yeah,
Feels like one of those nights where we just ran out of steam.
I'm kind of burnt, man. I was doing crap all day, and yeah, no,
Uh,
let's move on.
so
I don't have spring break until next week.
yeah. I'm on my first day of spring break, and I get a year older tomorrow. So
Oh yeah, happy birthday.
thank you. Are you going to make another major announcement for my birthday? I mean, that's what you did last year. Or tell me a great
No, the
secret.
only
That's what you
thing
did 2 years ago.
I mean, I
Great secrets you
really
shouldn't do on the air.
yeah, I it's a
We're
little
still
too early.
recording.
It's a little early to talk about the one thing, but I will tell you I will tell you at some point when hopefully
Right.
everything lines up great. But it's headed in the right direction. This other thing.
All righty. For the brothers Anderson, no relation, this has been the Milestone Book Club on 22 panels, and we will see you after the next page.
Hey guys, this is Tyler from 22 Panels. I'm here to tell you all about our Patreon. If you enjoy this show, please consider donating to our Patreon to keep this show going. We have many different tiers, all different levels to help you decide what's right for you. Okay, so get on out there to patreon.com/22 Panels Podcast.